what else you think it is that makes an Aussie so fast on a downhill bike? Because there was this period. It's like, dude, someone, like when I got there, it's like, Sean Heimdall sort of became the new crank team. Yep. He was like, dude, there's a fast Aussie. He can stay with me. Like, you just knew the potential. And there were so many others, like Panozzo after that.
Joel came over the next year.
Yeah, Joel, Havakainen. There were just so many. Dude, I'm drawing a blank, but there was a bunch Ben Corey
won the Junior World Championships the next year.
Junior World Champ. There was just this like, they would just come and come and come. So what was it about the Aussies?
I think, we've touched on it. They just love to ride their bikes. There's something to be said for that love and passion. And you hear a lot of the riders say it now. It's like, I just want to have fun. I want to enjoy it. Because the pressure could be a lot. You competed at the highest level. You had World Cup podiums. The pressure could be a lot. I think they were immune to pressure, especially early on. I think someone like Troy nowadays probably feels a bit more of the pressure because he's kind of been around a while. The longer you've been there, I'm a dad
and it's expected now. Yeah, it's expected for Troy to be on the podium. You're the consistent guy. You should win another race.
That's life in general, right? That's like life in general. It's the older you get, ignorance is bliss. I think you said that, and they just didn't know any better, but they just loved it. Their passion for it was second to none. And riding a downhill bike's pretty fun. And I think a little bit of it was a way out of Australia. Not that Australia is bad, but here in America, American football and sports is a lot of ways for people out of not the most ideal, great situations to elevate their life, to better their life. Not that their life was bad. I'm not saying that at all, but going to America is pretty cool. I'm blessed. I tell my kids this all the time. We do this road trip that takes us right next to the border in El Paso, Texas, and Mexico's there and we're here. And I've said, kids, you're blessed that you were born here, and being born in Australia is great too. But the opportunity to come to America, and that's where Kovarik, each time I see him or talk to him, he still thanks us, did we do that much? He could have gotten GT bikes if he came to America. He probably could have got some other people to drive him around, but we kind of formulated it. We hopefully gave him a good environment. We let him hang out with Rennie and Waddell all the time, and he got to race bikes, and Rennie the same thing, and Waddell the same thing, and Rando came along after that, so they're just grateful. They're humble people. I think a lot of them are like South Africans. I know a few of you guys. You guys are incredibly kind, nice, humble people. And there's something to be said for that. There's also the other side of the Palmers or maybe some of the Frenchies or whatever that have a different kind of confidence or arrogance. But for them, it just worked. They didn't know any different. They loved riding their bikes. They were given a great opportunity, but they had to have the skills to back it up. But they developed those skills. That time on the bike, for anyone listening, time on the bike is more valuable than any other intervals you're doing on the road bike.
Yeah, no, you said it like hit the nail on the head there. And I look at it's not that their life was tough or crazy bad at Australia and it's the only way out. But I guess to make a living in bikes, it wasn't going to happen in Australia. It wasn't going to happen for me in South Africa. So, you take a lot of sacrifice to come over for 6 months, to not have money in your bank account. So I think you maybe appreciate the opportunity and know I've got to prove myself. Otherwise I'm going home and I'm going to just get a normal job. And there's maybe less opportunities, like you said. In America, there's way more opportunities in the industry and that stuff. So that's interesting that you bring that up. And I've thought about that a lot, and it's probably quite similar in the moto industry. Deegan being maybe an outlier now, but the guys that is blue collar workers, they call it, right? They come from blue collar homes that make it in motocross because they've got the grit and the FU attitude. Because if you're handed something too easy, you don't learn the work ethic.
Totally. Yeah. Look at Chad Reed. Him and Ellie went to Europe, and Chad's parents basically told him, because he went there and he went with his girlfriend. They were 18 years old, and Chad went to Europe and lived in Belgium. I like Belgium and all, but living in Belgium for a winter, riding the Sands of Lommel, and he had to do it because he wanted to get to America. So he had to fight and claw through that. Then he gets to America. Then he's got that opportunity, and the rest is history. And now the story with the Lawrence brothers, super similar. The Lawrence brothers and their parents had to go to Europe to develop, live on minimal money, almost next to none at times, to fight and claw. And Hunter Lawrence, and again, I don't want to talk too much about moto. Hunter Lawrence gave a great quote recently. Two things. They asked him about the pressure of this, and he's like, dude, this ain't pressure. You know, he had lived in Belgium. He was old enough to know that, like, he was the family bread earner. Like, mom and dad were there with a special needs brother and a little brother. He was the bread earner. He's like, that's pressure. And then he also said, pressure's privilege. Pressure means you got something worthwhile, right? You know, you got an opportunity to do something great. You got good things in front of you. So I think that's really cool. And here in America, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of kids that get things given to them. Deegan can be the anomaly, but I'm stoked to see a lot of the young downhill Americans popping up. I keep close tabs on that. There's a lot of regional series. There's a new US Pro Downhill series here in America. And there's some good, hungry young Americans coming into downhill in America too. And I hope they get that hunger and fight for it, because they're having to go to Europe, right? I mean, not exactly the same, but similar, that these young Americans are now having to go to Europe. Like, how much time Dakota's not young anymore, but how much time has Dakota spent in Europe? Months at a time over there, because he wants it. He's hungry.
Yeah.
He wants it. So he's going after that, you know, as an American. So I don't know Dakota at all, but props to him for doing that. I think it's rad. I love it.